Hi there. My name is Professor Stewart. Welcome to Introduction to Poetry. Today we will be discussing the poem project, which will take about 2 weeks from start to finish. This will give you plenty of time to brainstorm, choose a poem, come up with a script, develop your script, maybe make a few mistakes along the way. Any time that you take on any sort of an assignment or project like this, you're gonna hit some bumps in the road. Whenever I make a screencast, it usually takes about 3 or 4 tries before I get it right. So we're gonna jump right into it. What we'll do first is we'll take a look at the assignment PDF, which is in Blackboard, and then we'll jump back into Blackboard itself to look at some of the resources and tools there that we can play around with. So the first thing you need to know is, what do you need to do? And at the top of the assignment here, we have the 3 primary submissions that you need. And so the first thing you're going to do is pick a poem from any time period, and then you are going to annotate that poem and upload it to Blackboard. We've been doing annotation throughout the semester. This is when you make margin notes, mark it up with a highlighter, define difficult vocabulary, things like this. So you'll be annotating a hard copy, taking a picture and uploading it to Blackboard. If you have a digital copy, you could annotate it digitally, use Cami or some of the other annotation resources. It's really up to you. The second thing you'll need to do is to develop a response paper for this poem. So just like the first response paper you did, you'll be looking at the historical piece, the aesthetic piece, the philosophical piece for your poem. And that will lead you into part 3, which is to create a screencast or a YouTube video for your poem. Okay, so those are the 3 primary things you're going to need to do. Next up, let's take a look at some of the objectives for this assignment. So let's run through these. The first thing you need to do is look around for some poems. If you have some books laying around, if you have the textbook, there are dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of poems that we just haven't gotten to and won't get to, so you're welcome to choose a poem from the book that we haven't done in class. Or I have tons of resources we'll take a look at in a minute online. As I said, the poem, you can not choose a poem that's been discussed in class. I welcome you to explore a poem related to your cultural heritage. If you're multilingual, you could read the poem in both languages. Think of this project as an opportunity to teach your poem. So everything we've done so far, you're going to use those tools, use the summaries we've done, use the definition slideshows we've done, and you're going to apply those to your analysis. Again, these 3 pieces here: to annotate, to develop the response paper, to develop and post some sort of a digital media project, this being the screencast or the YouTube probably would be the most common. Note that there's a requirement, we'll take a look at that in a minute, that you need to quote at least 3 lines from your poem in your analysis to give us some specifics from the poem. I do want to know what you think about the poem and your reaction and your connection, but you always need to bring it back to the poem itself. Okay? And this will satisfy 2 separate grades. The poem project presentation, which is the digital piece, will be a grade, and the response paper 2 will be the 2nd grade. So this is a big chunkier grade here. So definitely do your best here. We'll all be coming from different experience. Some of you have made screencasts or podcasts or YouTube videos, and others haven't. So this is geared towards the student who hasn't done this before. So So just hang in there. A couple more notes here for your digital piece of this is you must read your poem aloud. It is, if it's a longer poem, you just need to pick a 12-line passage or so to read. It doesn't have to be exactly 12 lines, but around the 12-line mark. You're going to study a mentor text, which is a model for your project. For example, if you're going to make a YouTube video, look at a bunch of YouTube videos, get some ideas of what works, what doesn't work for you. If you're going to do a screencast, take a look at the resources in Blackboard or look up screencasts and look at some examples of that. Always use quotation marks around the title of your poem, and then this goes for if you're doing the screencast. You're going to want to print that in quotation marks, and again, Blackboard we'll be going to in a minute here. I also include the poem project checklist here. This is what I'm going to use to grade you. So take a look. We have, again, thinking of the 3-part structure, introduction, body, conclusion. In the beginning, you may post this to YouTube. When I make a YouTube video, I make it public, but I do not allow comments. So anybody can look at it. There's no comments. But you can make it private as well. That may be a little tricky for me to see it, but it's up to you how you want to handle that. So you don't have to use your name in it, but I do want you to start out by saying, welcome to my video, welcome to my screencast. Today I'll be discussing this poem by this author, okay? The main structure of your paper/project, again, ideally what you'll do here is you'll pick a poem, you'll annotate it, you'll write down some notes, you'll begin to develop your response paper, and then that response paper can be developed into your presentation. You can do it either way. You can start with your presentation and then develop your response paper from that. But again, it's 2 separate grades, but it's based on the same poem. Just a single poem from any time period by any author. Again, 3 lines from the poem. You will read a piece of it. You're going to need to talk about the form, talk about the content, rhyme and meter if that's appropriate. Conclusion, make sure at the end, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my video, or I hope you enjoyed my screencast. Start with an introduction, end with a clear end, and then I do have some other basic delivery points here that whether you're doing a video or a screencast, I do want you to make your poem visible to the viewer, so they'll be able to see it along with you reading it. Practice and preparation. Again, it shows when I see a project that was just done at the last minute. It's pretty obvious. If you do a screencast, make sure that you only use keywords and you have contrast. Don't use blue font on a black background. Use light and dark so that your text really pops out on your slides. Don't put every word on your slideshow that you're going to say. Typically what I do, you'll be creating a script, and your script will could be just bullet points. It should be more information than that's in your slideshow. So when I come up with a Google Doc of my script, it's on my phone, I'm scrolling through and reading it while there's only just keywords and single words in my slideshow. You don't want to overwhelm your viewer with too much text on your slides. And submit it by due date. So that is the general assignment. Let's jump over to the Blackboard here. All right, so here is all the information and the resources that I was just talking about. All that is what we went over, and here are our specific folders for assignments. You can see the first due date is going to be read the poem project assignment, choose a poem, post your title and author and format in the collaborate button. Collaborate button's right over here. here. And in addition, you're going to upload your annotation there as well. Okay, so you have two. So the first due date, find your poem, upload your proposal and your annotation, and let's jump in there and take a look. Our collaborate button. Okay, and there they are. Poem project annotation, poem project proposal. Take a look here in the proposal. Keeping in mind you're going to click create blog entry and put in your title, your author, and your format. Okay, and same thing back here. We're going to jump in and take a look at the annotation that you're going to post, and you're going to upload some format of it. Again, it could be maybe you annotated it using software, maybe you annotated it, just print it out and use pencil and highlighter, take a picture of it and upload that, and that's absolutely fine. Again, create blog entry, and then you're going to upload that document. So that's the first due date is going to be those pieces, and I have this set up so it's not going to be overwhelming. It's just going to be step by step. Okay, once I get that in, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get to me a rough draft on the next due date, and the rough draft is going to be your script that you'll use for either your screencast or your YouTube video. And that script can be just starting bullet points. This could be like a rough draft of your script. It'll be something that's in process you'll probably be working on right up until the minute you record. And so this can be bullet points, it could be paragraphs, however you want to do it. Again, when I do this, I typically have it on a Google Doc, scroll through it on my phone as I'm looking at it. I can just read. Again, it's more information than it's going to appear in the slideshow. If you're doing a YouTube video, it's going to be a little different. You're going to have to develop some sort of a setup for you to keep your eye on the camera and keep focused so that you're not distracted. And that's the whole thing. It's the same with the screencast with the audio. If you're disorganized or distracted, it's going to show. So try to get everything set up and get ready as you develop that. And we have tons of resources here to go through. We have all these. These are the mentor texts. Here's a screencast. Here's a YouTube video, a how-to. Again, I am using Screencast-O-Matic right now, which has a pretty generous 15-minute limit, but it looks like I'm just about maxing out. So I am going to pause the recording and ask you to jump into part 2 of this screencast, and I'll see you in a minute.